What's going on, guys? Keith, Two Guys How To, and we're just out. We're fixing some stuff as we normally do. The weather broke a little bit. You can see there's still snow out. Ice is dripping, and the birds are starting to chirp and everything. So we're outside. We're working on this Kawasaki, and we've got it covered up actually because it just snowed here. And it's the Kawasaki 460V. It's a Kawasaki Frank Berry 46V as in Victor, so it's an FB 460V, and it's got the oil filter on it. We changed all that. We got a new fuel filter, and we actually yanked the carburetor off. It's underneath this plastic here. June had covered it up, so we've got that all covered up, and he took off the carburetor from the intake. So we've got it over here. He disconnected all the linkage and everything. He took some pictures of it, line it up. Not that he needs to, but just take some pictures of everything before you disconnect it. And basically today we're going to show you how to clean one of these carburetors. It's simple, and once you clean one of these, you can clean them all. Doesn't matter if it's a lawnmower or one of these Skag walk-behinds. This is a 36 Advantage. They don't make these anymore, but it doesn't matter really what you clean. Any kind of pressure washer, lawnmower, you know, aerator, any kind of small equipment, lawn tractor, this does the same thing. So let's go on over here. June's behind me. He's got his cleaning tools here, and we've got the carburetor right here on the workbench, which is our big outside picnic table today. And I want to stand at a good angle so where I'm not putting a shady spot on you. And basically we've got these two bolts here that went into the intake on the side, and that's how the carburetor looks when it's sitting on the machine. That's your air filter up top there with the two wing nuts, and there's your choke and butterfly. So we've got this off, we've got it on the table, and June's gonna take it apart and kind of show you just real quick what to do. Just watch your gaskets. These are all new gaskets we got because we just put a new valve seat and seal in that that motor for Kevin. 10 mil, and we got a 10mm bolt on the bottom there. He's just going to take off the bottom float bowl, and it's got a screw here where you can drain the gas in the carburetor, you know, for winter or whatever, but we're not going to mess with that today. He's just going to dismantle this bowl off the bottom of the carburetor. So he took off that one bolt that screws into here, holds the float bowl on, and there is a little gasket down in there. You got to watch them. If they stick or whatever, if you break them, then you're going to have to order a new one. This one,
just take it off a little easy, you know.
Yeah, this one doesn't look too bad. We'll know when we put it back together and actually add gas, but you can see down in there
a little bit of dirt,
a little bit of dirt and debris, and that'll stick to your float. And basically you've got the carburetor. Turn it upside down for him, June, and you can see how these work. That float bowl goes up on there like this and holds the gas in, and when that gas goes down in the bowl, it moves this float up, and that's what turns the gas on and off. The more gas you use, the float falls down, it lets more gas in, so it sits and kind of pivots on this pin here, and you can see the pin's part way out now, and your jet is up inside there, and then there's another needle seat on this needle valve that goes up in there, and we'll show you. So June's going to take that apart.
Let's use this.
He's just using a little awl to get that axle out of there. It's kind of like the pivot pin for the float, and he's got a pair of needle nose. Usually they come right out. If it's that gummed up, then you want to be a little bit more gentle with it. So he's got that float off there, and you can see that needle that hangs off there. He took it off. It hangs up on the float right there. And that's what's going up and down. When the gas is getting in that float bowl, it's pushing that whole float up, but you can see how it hangs off there. Kind of looks like the Washington Monument. It's a little rubber tip, like a pyramid, and it goes up inside that hole there and pinches off your gas flow. So if those get worn out sometimes, if you notice your carb is leaking excessively, no matter what you do, those valve seats can get just gummed up or swollen. You want to watch what kind of carb cleaner you use. We use non-chlorinated carb clean by Brake Clean, the CRC. It's non-chlorinated, so it won't swell those gaskets. and rubber bushings and stuff, if you use a chlorinated one, it will swell up that needle seat, the head, it'll swell it up, and it'll just ruin a lot more things, even this gasket here. So June's got this little kit we got off of Amazon. It's a carburetor cleaner brush kit, and it's got a bunch of little kind of wires, and it's got a couple other brushes. They're all different sized wire tips, kind of similar to a guitar string, and he's trying to match one up to see if he can go down through that jet.
We used to use these.
Yeah, we do still use this. This is a speaker wire we stripped, and it pokes down in there quite well too, actually. We use that on more so than on this little kit here for other things. Will this actual jet come out of there?
It will.
Yeah, do you have a screw? You don't have a flathead?
I didn't bring one.
Because that's probably got a couple...
most of the time, that's what does it.
Yeah, most of the time that's clogged up.
You want to pull it out?
Yeah, let's just go ahead. We're going to take a flathead screwdriver down in there, and you can see the jet, and we're going to pull that out. That way we can make sure it's clean. You don't want to force it out. You want to just go right down in there with a flathead. You want the flathead to match up. You don't want it to be too small or too big. It'll strip it out. June's going to go and get the correct size flathead for that jet, and we'll unscrew it and take it out of there, and then we can physically examine it and run these, you know, brushes down, or run the wire down through them, whatever we want to do, depending on what size we can get, if we can get a brush in there. If not, we just go ahead and we use our old speaker wire, the 100% copper wire. It's not stranded or braided or anything, it's just solid copper wire, and we'll poke it down inside there once we get the jet. And you can see down in there, you can poke it with this as a quick way if you don't want to take it out. You know, you can poke it down in there. And it'll go, you can see it'll go up inside there, inside the butterfly. I'm holding the camera. And that generally 9 times out of 10, that's going to do it. Between that and cleaning the gook out of the float bowl, because that gook's going to get inside that jet there and gum that thing up and clog it. And then it doesn't matter how much gas you have in there. It's just not going to work right. So June's got a screwdriver, and let's see if we can match one up that's not going to strip it and be too hardcore on it. This carb is what, 30 years old, maybe 20 years old. They don't make those Kawasaki's anymore, but it's been a good unit for a customer of ours, Big Kevin. So we're going to just take that jet on out of there, and you can smell the gas. The gas almost smells like turpentine. It's just so ranky old. So he took the jet on out, and you can see there's nothing to it really. It's just,
this is what normally gets clogged.
yeah, just a little hole. So we're going to go ahead and run that wire up through there. You can use a guitar string, or you can get this little kit. I think it was maybe $9 off of Amazon. I hate to give them props because they make too much money. But if you don't, we just strip some speaker wire or some automotive wire and run it up through there.
One carb rebuild kit we got came with one too.
Yeah, we did buy a carburetor actually for this unit, and it came with the kit. So we kind of got a free kit to use. So he's just cleaning that up. He's going to use a little bit of brake clean on it, squirt it down through that hole. You can see that it's going straight through. It's coming out the other end. And usually 9 times out of 10, that's the problem. If it's not that, it's going to be the needle seat isn't seating up inside there, and it's going to just keep allowing the carburetor to flood, leak out on the ground, or go down into the crank area and get mixed in with the motor oil. So he's going to go ahead and just spray down in there as well, right where we took that jet out. And you can see it coming out of the bottom of the carb, or the side of the carb on the butterfly. You want to squirt some down, yeah, that's where the needle seat is, right there, where that little pyramid goes. And you can see it coming out of the gas fuel line. And then if he back squirts it through the gas fuel line, he'll see it come out for where that needle seat goes up in there. Boom, you can see that. That was a big one. And just hit that jet again, and you can see it's totally clean. It's coming out. There's no dirt and debris in there. Go ahead and spray out the inside of the carb as well. Like I said, we're using the non-chlorinated brake clean from CRC, and it won't hurt any of the seals or the rubber gaskets that's still up there where the float bowl goes. And you might as well just hit this bowl here, the float bowl itself. And we got an old toothbrush we use. Normally we throw them out, but we started saving them years ago. And he's just gonna go ahead and give that thing a once over with that toothbrush, just knock off all the solid.
We just heated it up and bent it.
Yeah, we used a torch on that one and kind of bent it. That's why it looks a little bit abnormal. But you can bend them and heat them to fit in different areas on different carburetors. So once he gives that thing a once over, cleans it out, we'll hit it a little bit more with that high powered spray from the brake clean, the CRC brake clean, non-chlorinated. And then we might as well just hit the float itself as well. And you can see the needle is still stuck on the float. And if it's real dirty, hit the outside of it as well. This carb was pretty clean. We had already been in it.
This is a brass brush. It won't hurt the surface.
Yeah, so he's going to a brass, small brass brush.
Sometimes this won't do it. You need a little extra.
Okay, so he's going to use that brass brush. Basically, it won't scratch the bowl like a hardcore metal brush would. This is brass, so it's a little softer. It won't scratch that aluminum bowl.
It's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, it looks pretty clean.
Give it a shot.
So we're going to just set that off to the side and let it dry, basically. And we've got the float here. You want to just spray everything while it's there. Like I said, we use the non-chlorinated, so it's not going to damage the rubber tip on that needle valve there. And we're just going to set that aside on a nice clean cloth and let it dry. And you got the bolt that he took out that held that float bowl on, that 10 millimeter. I would just give that a once over. That way when you put it back together, all the dirt is just gone. It's not on your fingers, it's any of the parts. And we're basically ready to put it back together. He's gonna spray off that axle, that swing, the swing axle, or the pin that actually makes that float pivot. And we're pretty much ready to put it back together. What about down in here? It looks pretty good. Yep, everything looks clean to me. We checked the fuel line, the fuel going in, that came out the jet. He went up, or it came out where the needle goes, and he sprayed up in the jet, and it came out where the butterflies are. So we're ready to reassemble this thing and get it back on the mower.
You put the jet back in?
Yeah, he's gonna start by putting that jet back in there. Don't forget that. And once again, use a screwdriver that fits that jet nice and tight. It's very easy to strip it out.
Most of the time it's a straight screwdriver.
Yeah, this screwdriver he's using isn't flanged on the sides, it's just straight.
Like this one's got the flange.
You can see that one's flanged out and swollen out. He's just using a plain old, what is that, a Stanley or something straight edge. Yeah, it's just old, made in USA screwdriver. It's still working. And it fits that jet perfect. There's no real slop when he tightens it. It almost fits the same width of the jet, and the groove, it almost fits the groove perfectly. Get that jet back in there and just snug it up, just get it seated in there. Yep, and then we'll get the float ready. Make sure that needle, and on the needle valve, we didn't really show you guys, it hangs up in there. You want to take it off and show them real quick, June? It just comes off, and it's hard to see, but it's got these little, it's kind of like a metal right there. Let's see if we can get back a little further. It's got a little metal on it, and it's kind of like a wire, and it clips on. It just slides right over top this little tab right here. So don't be afraid to mess with it. Just make sure it goes back on real gentle. He just slid it right on top of that tab, and he's going to set it right down in where the needle float goes, and he'll run that little pivot pin in there. And you can see it, he went right down in where that float, where he cleaned it out before, the needle went right down in there. And you're just gonna put that axle back through the little pivot pin, and it'll go back through one side, and and sometimes you gotta shake it a little bit and just push it, and it'll come back out through this other side. This carb's had some work done, so he's just gonna use some needle nose just to push it all the way through. I think it wasn't even all the way through when we took it apart, it was kind of sticking out.
You just needed to get past where your bowl's gonna sit.
Yeah.
It can't come out now.
Yep, the bowl will keep it from coming out either way. So, get the bowl back on.
I'm pretty sure the drain goes this way.
Yeah, the drain plug he's got going out towards you once you get the air filter on.
Make sure the gasket's still good.
Yeah, double check that gasket down in there. It looks good, doesn't look beat up, but we'll know once we add gas, once we get this back on the carburetor and add gas, if it's leaking, you're just gonna have to order one or go inside the shop and get a spare. And it also has another gasket on this float bowl.
Yep.
The actual bowl itself has this little fiber gasket. They generally don't go bad. You don't want to over tighten them, you just want to snug it down, because this is rubber and that's kind of like a fiber, so they're just going to pinch together just lightly, just torque it down a little bit.
What I like to do is take your little 1/4-inch ratchet and just keep your hands right here. Don't go here.
Yeah, he's saying if you go out too far, you'll get too much torque on it.
Go here, so that's all you need.
He keeps up real tight up near the top, so he can't over tighten it.
Yep.
So we're good to go there, everything's good.
Give it a little spray.
Last little once over, and that's pretty much it. It'll go back on the same housing here. Sit on the motor like that, right on the side of the mower. And like I said, this is a Skag unit, walk behind, that we're messing with here with the Kawasaki motor. This goes for anything: snow thrower, lawn tractor, lawn mower. It's the same principle. You gonna put this thing on today?
Oh, well, right.
All right, we'll walk over and watch him reassemble it onto the unit real quick.
Everywhere in East Asia. In the film, even when it's planted in the US, it flourishes. That's not exactly the case for the Yi family. Parents Monica and Jacob are Korean immigrants who moved to a trailer home in Arkansas.
So we're good.
With 2 second-generation kids to start.
Get the linkage hooked up on it.
The Reagan era, and the parents work as chicken sexers, ruffling through the baby birds' undersides.
The little springs can be a headache.
By sex. But Jacob's real aspiration is to use his land to start a farm and sell produce. The American dream.
It's got the linkage hooked up.
Our co-host Elsa Chang just spoke to
And we're gonna run the air filter through and just make sure all the gaskets, the gasket back behind us, it's still on there. And this gasket here is still there. There's one here and then there's one back there. So we're good. It's ready to go back together.
your face so flat?
You can see that gas is going right in that fuel filter there.
My name is Sean. What's yours?
Going straight into that carburetor, down into that bowl that we just cleaned.
Why did you decide to place
That's
this
plenty there, June.
church
Yep.
specifically?
I guess there wasn't any ways where it's this family you see in the movie many times. This family is trying to kill a lot of people.
No leaks, good to go. That's it. That's the ball game. So that's a done deal. Carbs fixed, clean, fresh gas, fuel filter, oil change. The carburetor was giving us a problem. It would not start at all. So we're done. That thing can be paid for, picked up, and out of here. Again, Keith, 2 guys, how to. June's over there with the machine. It's running strong, running good. No leaks on the carburetor. So fix it yourself, save that money. Get some of it, don't be afraid. Take it apart, take pictures, and fix it yourself. Save that money.
I'm not a pig, I'm a lawyer.